Welcome gamers, Hazzador here, and today it's time to give you my top 10 games of 2016. There's been so many games coming out that it's simply impossible to fit them all in a top 10 list, but I've tried my best. First, I'm going to give you two quick honourable mentions that just missed out on the top 10. The first one is Watch Dogs 2. It's actually a very solid game and it improved a lot on the first title, but it just simply wasn't good enough to make the list. The other one is The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine DLC. Okay, it isn't a full game, but honestly, it has just as much content as most games do nowadays. But I didn't really feel it'd be too fair to put this on the list when it's not a full game. Now, let's get into the list. Coming at number 10 is Gears of War 4. As a veteran to the series, this simply had to make my personal list. I enjoyed it a lot, but overall, I did feel it was kind of disappointing, mainly because the old characters like Cole, Baird, Marcus, Dom, of course Dom died, but he wasn't in this game and it's just not the same without these core characters. Horde mode is very entertaining, but it gets boring after a while. The multiplayer, I've never really liked Gears of War multiplayer to be honest, but I mean it's a good addition, but it's nothing that's going to keep me attached for too long. The story mode is quite solid, but again it's nothing really special. Gears of War 4 was a very good game, but it didn't live up to my personal expectations. That is why it comes in at number 10. Coming at number 9 is a surprise entry to a lot of you. It is Inside, the only indie game on my list, and without a doubt it deserves to be here. I enjoyed it so much, mainly because it's so mysterious. It's basically a puzzle platformer and it's a follow-up to the game Limbo. If you've ever played Limbo, you'll definitely feel sort of vibes from that game influencing this one. It's a very good title, you run around, puzzle platforming, and it's got a very dark theme to it as well, which kind of makes it stand out from other indie platformers. And it's only like £10 on the store as well, so you're not going to be like wasting a lot of money on this game, and it gives you a good 5 hours of gameplay. Of course, since it was an indie game, a lot of you guys haven't probably played it, but everybody who has played it, from what I've heard anyway, they have really enjoyed it. Coming in at number 8 is a game that I would have expected to be like in the top 5, is The Last Guardian. It came out very recently, and overall, I just left feeling a little bit empty-handed once I played this game. There's no doubt about it. If you like games like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian will probably be in your top 2 list, because it really does cater to a specific audience of gamer. But for me personally, it wasn't really my sort of game. Also, the camera angles were really poor, the controls were so frustrating that it just ruined my experience. But the thing that holds this game up without a doubt is Trico. That animal is just adorable. There's no doubt The Last Guardian deserves to be on my list, but it's a bit lower than what I would have expected when it was announced. Coming at number 7, Titanfall 2. Now this game basically improved on the first Titanfall in every single way. A story mode, Titan variety, more customization, you name it, EA delivered on the problems the fans were pointing out. A lot of people missed out on this game because it was released right in the middle of Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty, so people sort of pushed it to a side, but if you pick up Titanfall 2 and play it, especially the story mode, you'll be very pleasantly surprised. It's a great first person shooter, it's very fast paced, and if you like this sort of thing, you won't be disappointed at all. The graphics as well are also on point, and overall, I don't really have much complaints about the game. However, the multiplayer for Titanfall 2 is nowhere near as good as some of the games higher on this list. One of those games is Battlefield 1, which comes in at number 6. This was one of my most anticipated games of the year, and it really did deliver on it, although finishing number 6 in my top 10 list doesn't look that good. The story mode was actually surprisingly good, the multiplayer was very solid, don't get me wrong, it really does feel like a Battlefield multiplayer experience. However, I don't know what it is, but I can't quite figure out why I don't enjoy this game as much as I thought I would. I don't know if it's the World War I theme that doesn't keep me interested for that long, the lack of gun variety, or the vehicles, for example lacking helicopters and jets, that sort of thing. I'm not too sure what it is, but there's something about Battlefield 1 that is nowhere near comparable to Battlefield 4. I put lots of hours into BF4, and Battlefield 1 is just not going to be that sort of game for me. I'm not going to play it as much, and honestly I haven't played it for like 2 or 3 weeks. I've kind of left it aside, but there's no doubt that this game's an absolute gem in multiplayer experience, but it's just not as good as I expected it to be. However, my expectations were as high as the sky, so I guess it's not really like a massive downer on the game itself. Now, we're getting into the top 5 list. These games were absolutely amazing. The first one is Final Fantasy 15. I'm actually a newcomer to the series, so this game has to be amazing for me to put it in my top 5. I've never played a Final Fantasy game and I had no idea what to expect. It surprised me and entertained me in every single way. The open world is something that I thought Final Fantasy wouldn't do that well, because from what I know, it's never been an open world game. The combat was surprisingly good, I enjoy it all the way through. The characters, despite having some criticism from veteran fans, I thought they were quite well and they developed very well throughout the story, but I don't really know how this development finishes because I've not even finished this game. And just the fact that I haven't even finished Final Fantasy and it's made my top 5 list shows just how good this game is. You're in like a group of 4 people, you can equip them with weapons, level them up, give them specific techniques, level up yourself in this massive skill tree that has loads and loads of depth to it. The graphics as well are out of this world, but they're not as good as the game on the top of this list. On to number 4 now, and we have Dark Souls 3. What an end to a series. I absolutely love the Dark Souls series. Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, they've all entertained me so much, and this sort of game is right up my alley. Maybe it wasn't as good as the first Dark Souls, but it's definitely got contender for one of the best games of 2016. The bosses are as good as ever, they have their own backstories, and you of course have people like YouTubers and stuff making loads of lore videos on them, so this game's story has so much depth, and the fans can figure out their own story from a few hints and tips we get inside the game. The environments as well are one of the things that I love most in Dark Souls 3. You're in castles, you're in forests, you're underground, in tunnels, you're in rivers. There's so many places that you can get killed and kill people. It's just something else. Overall, I think I've went through Dark Souls' campaign 4 or 5 times. I've got 3 different characters, and every single gameplay style is so entertaining to play. We're on to the top 3 now, and this decision was so hard to make. Coming in at number 3 is Doom. This game went back to its original roots, the original Doom that everybody fell in love with. I didn't manage to play this game, mainly because I wasn't even born when it came out, but I've played through it recently and I really do see how this new Doom has developed its ideas from the first one. It is just a pure game where you have fun. The story is not too interesting, I didn't even listen to the dialogue most of the time, the multiplayer is nothing too special, but the area where this game excels, without a doubt, is its just run and gun gameplay. It is possibly the goriest game I've ever played. You can rip people apart, you can shove grenades through people's mouths, you can shotgun people at close range, pull people's eyeballs out. It's absolutely ridiculous, and you definitely don't want children playing this game. But if you're an adult, Doom is something that anybody can enjoy. There's quite a lot of longevity as well. I think it's like a 15-hour campaign, nothing to complain about at all, and the developers really have mastered fun in video games. That's the only thing I can call Doom. In Hell, you have so many weapon varieties to use to kill your demons. You have shotguns, you have sawed-off shotguns, you have assault rifles, plasma rifles, chainsaw guns, the BFG. Anything you can think of in terms of weaponry, you can use to tear demons to absolute shreds. Coming in at number 2 is Overwatch. The multiplayer for this game was absolutely amazing, like nothing else I've seen this year, and I've put over 200 hours into the multiplayer. Absolutely ridiculous amount of time I've spent on this game, but it is so addictive. The hero balance is just perfect in my opinion, and if something is overpowered, it'll get sorted out in a future update in the game. You have supports, assaults, tanks, defense heroes, and teamwork is the center of Overwatch. You need to have good teammates, good communication, and everybody needs to be on the same page. If not, you're just not going to win the game. I thought Battlefield 1 was a very tactical game, but Overwatch is head and shoulders above Battlefield's multiplayer. Of course, they are very different games, but I mean, it's obvious which one I'd prefer to play, and what many people have chosen to play as well. Not only is the hero balance pretty much perfect, in my opinion, the hero variety is very impressive as well. There are no 2 heroes that play the same. People shooting grenades, shotguns, laser rifles, people who don't even do do damage, they're mainly there for healing people, and this game absolutely took me by surprise. I still play it almost religiously to this day. Competitive is so addictive, and there's no way Overwatch is going to not make this top 10 list. And it actually won Game of the Year 2016 at the Game Awards, but in my personal opinion, it wasn't better than my number 1 on this list. That number 1 goes to Uncharted 4. If Dark Souls 3 was a good end to a game series, Uncharted 4 is an absolute masterpiece of an end to a series. I couldn't really have thought of any better way to end the series. I'm not going to spoil it because you may not have played it, but if you're a fan of the series, there's no way you can miss out on Uncharted 4. The game is just an absolute masterpiece, and Naughty Dog really do set the bar for gaming in general. Of course, if you haven't played Uncharted yet, maybe you wouldn't put it as your number 1 list, but if you are emotionally connected to Nathan Drake, Sully, Elena, all these characters that are so massive in gaming, there's no way that you can't call this game the best of 2016. The storytelling in this game is absolutely breathtaking, and the new villains they've introduced, like Nadine, fit into the story plot absolutely perfectly. And let's be honest, Uncharted is all about Nathan Drake. This character develops perfectly in the game. You can see how he doesn't really like this normal life. He wants to be treasure hunting again, and he goes treasure hunting with his brother Sam. As you go through this adventure, you see so many different environments, from islands to caves, from massive open world areas like Madagascar. It's just so perfect. I can't really put it into words how good this game is. The graphics as well are absolutely miles above anything else on this list. However, as I mentioned before, Final Fantasy is quite close behind, but as a game in general, in my opinion, Uncharted 4 blows most of these games out of the water. Apart from Overwatch, those games were very close, but Uncharted just edged it. Possibly the best in the series, although Uncharted 2 was very good, and possibly the best game on PlayStation 3, but Uncharted 4 is without a doubt my best game of 2016. And that is my top 10 list. Of course, you guys are probably going to disagree with a few of these decisions, but of course we all have our personal lists. But anyway guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe for more.